Hey, thank you for joining me today. I'm Katie Johnson, and today I want to show you some projects that I've made with this new For the Books stamp set. Actually, it comes with a die set as well, and there's some really fun things that you can do with these dies. So first, let's take a look at the sentiments that are in here. It says, "You're a solid," and there's 5 stars. So if you're talking to somebody about a book, you can rate that book. You can also stamp the inside of a book if you're going to lend it to someone from the library of and put your name down there. If you're sending a card to someone for an occasion, you have a "For You." For Valentine's Day, you have "The Story of Us," and you've got a little heart added to it. You also have "This One's for the Books," which to me suggests like closure of an event, closure of one more year under your belt for a birthday card. There's all kinds of ways you could use the sentiment right here. And then there's a little eyeglasses up here. And then you've got the signature pieces in the stamp set, which are these 3 different book images. This one is clearly a stack of books. These are vertical, but you could, of course, turn them horizontal and turn them into a stack as well. For people who like to color, this is a fun set because you can definitely pull out the markers and the watercolors and the colored pencils and do some fun stuff with book colors. Okay, so if you don't like the sentiments that are in here, though, this is the kind of a stamp set where you can do anything you want with the images and then bring in a sentiment from some other sentiment stamp set that you have. All right, so let me set this off to the side here for a moment. I do have a little stack over here of some cards that I've made, but I do want to show you the dies first of all. So it's not a big die set, but there's some fun things you can do with these dies. I have mounted my dies and the die cuts for them right on the sheet that came out of the envelope. So you get this one right here that's going to die cut the book itself. Actually, I should just show you the one I've already die cut. So here it is, and you can see that it does some impressions in it as well. So you get these little 4 corners, and you get this oval, and then you could go ahead and stamp something else tiny in that oval if you wanted, and you've got the spine, you've got it angled, and then you've got these other pieces. Now, there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dies, so the rest of what you see is the die cuts. This one here, which I cut in white, this does the pages for the bottom of the book. This one right here is going to die cut a bookmark or like a ribbon coming out of the top of a book that would mark the page. This one down here, this one's kind of fun. It almost looks like a comb if you're doing punch art of some sort, or I don't know, I could put fringe on the bottom of like we've got a truck punch. So I could put fringe on the bottom of that and turn it into a float for a parade, or a grass skirt, or I don't know, eyelashes maybe for something. Here it is, die cut. I got the pieces already die cut out, okay? People who look at my videos very often, you know I'm all about the shapes and what can I do with it. So like, I could turn it upside down. I could turn this into grass. Oh man, that's cool. I didn't even think about that until just now. So anyway, I'll show you what we're going to do with that, what that's intended for in just a minute. And then the last one, just real quick before I put this away, this one right here, it's got some structure to it. It just cuts a hole. That's all it does. It's like a hole punch. That's all it is. It's a hole punch. It does fit inside the banner, and I tried running them through the die cut that way, and you'll notice I don't have it on my sheet because it was very unsatisfying. In other words, the piece right here between my thumbnails fits into this space right here on the banner, but it just barely fits, which means that that hole basically takes up the whole top of this thing, which is kind of pointless to have a giant hole in the top of it. So that's just a hole. So if you're going to make a bookmark, then you got a hole that you could pull your thread through. Let's go back and look at this thing for just a moment, because I did not make a card with that, only because it has a little bit of structure to it, and I was concentrating right now on cards that I could easily put in the mail. My postmaster and I have been having conversations about how much things cost to mail. So this thing is intended to be this little tassel that I just put away. Where's my... I wanted something to start the curvature on this. So what I do when I make that tassel is I just took my, well, let's see if I can do it here on camera. I just started wrapping it around. Okay, there we go. Get it started. And then you just wrap it up like this. And then once you've got the paper to figure out where the paper wants to go, then after that is when I unrolled it and went back and put my adhesive on, because I didn't want to try rolling it with the adhesive on, because I would have been a mess. I don't know about you and your fingers, but I would have been a mess. So then I would come and put my adhesive all along the edge and then go back and re-roll the thing up. And then you got a cute little tassel. And I have seen some adorable samples done where they have the like a string coming out the top of the book and then that little tassel on it. Or birthdays, balloons, all kinds of other things that you could add a cute little tassel to. All right, so we have seen the dies and we have seen the stamps, and now we want to look at some cards. The first one that I made, very, very simple. I just concentrated on, this one's for the books, and I have a stack of books, and actually I'm going to use this one as a birthday card. I did the same thing over here, but what I did for this one was I added the little eyeglasses up on top, super cute, and I have another stamp set that does tiny little flowers, and so I just did a potted plant off to the side next to it. Two very simple cards. And then I said, oh, I want to play with all the book stamps and do a lot of coloring. So there we are, stamped multiple different times for each one. Got a whole row of stamps on here. This one's going to be a birthday card too. You're a solid 5 stars. So get a chance to color those stars in. All right, then this one right here. So this one is super fun. Can you see? I'm looking over here at my camera. You see the shine on these books over here? So what I did with this one, I got a couple of things here that are like everybody needs this in your stamping space. This is just packing tape. And all I did was put my packing tape on the paper before I ran it through the machine. And when it comes out of the machine, it's got this awesome, awesome super shine on it like that. I love it. I just love that. You cannot go back and stamp anything in the middle of that oval because it's shiny, and so your ink won't stick to it, but you could glue something to the top of it if you wanted to. And then I do want to talk about the pages down here. So let me stop here for just a minute and come back over and look at the other die cuts. So here are the pages, and then here is the book. Let's turn it right side up. Okay, pages, we're looking at it down from this way. So here's where my pages go. You can see as I'm playing around with this that there's some, not only some lines embossed in the paper, there's also some lines cut in the paper. That's interesting. I haven't quite figured out what to do with that, but visually it adds some interest when you're making your card. But here's what I want to show you. On the project, let's see here. I have to pull this out. Because there's 2 ways you can do this. Okay, that's why I'm making a point of showing it. For this one right here, I glued the pages right on top of the book itself. So in other words, I took the book and I glued the pages right on top. Visually, it looks fine. There is nothing wrong with the way that looks. My brain, though, my brain knows that the pages are higher than the cover of the book. And to me, I just like, ooh, how can I fix that? And here's what I fixed it, and it's super quick and easy to do. I cut myself a second book. So I took my scissors and I just snipped, and it's super easy because the slit is in the die cut already. So I snipped it off there and snipped it off here. And now I have a space that I can put those pages in, and they will be level with the cover of the book, but then I needed something to hold them, which is why I cut myself a second book down here. So let's see if I can, I'll just do this really quickly for the sake of the video, but you would take a little bit more time and effort to do this. I'm putting tape, well, your tape or your glue, whatever, on everything. And then I would bring this piece up here, and I did do it the same color. So like for the green book, I did a green backing, and for the red book, I did a red backing. And then you're just going to line those up. So now you get a little bit of extra height there for that book, and then you can come back and put the pages in, and they won't look like they're sitting up higher than the book cover. And like I say, totally unnecessary. That was just something that I felt that I had to do. So that's what I did for these right here. So they are all one level when I run my finger over it. Like I say, totally unnecessary. I just felt like I had to do that. Then we do have a vertical happy birthday over here, and I kind of made it look like a bookmark that might be hanging in the middle between the pages. Wanted a little bit of a vintage look. This is the exposed brick embossing folder, and I just did some sponging over it. That was super easy. I think I haven't shown you all of them. There's another. So I got a big mess over here. I'm taking a minute to clean up my space before I finish showing you because I have two more cards to show you. So we have this one right here. And for this one, I just glued those pages right on top of the pink. So um, what I did over here was maybe a little OCD, maybe a little bit more than what was needed. And this one is lovely, folks. I love the bright pink colors on here. It's just so pretty. And we have a flower punch. It's called the Petal Park Flower Punch. So that's how I added that embellishment. And we're going to look at the sparkle on that heart. This is the heart stamp from the stamp set. And then I went over it with the Wink of Stella pen. I'm going to keep that one out to show you in just a minute with that last card. This one is a fancy fold though. As long as we're doing books for the images, this is actually what we call a book card. So what you do is you just add an extra score line in here and then glue this down so it's like the spine of a book. It does limit you to the a little bit less space on the inside, but it's also a little bit unexpected. It's out of the ordinary, and so it's fun when people get this and go, oh, and that little, like, oh, paying attention because it's a little different than normal. So there is the book card, and then the last one that I have, since we do have, it's all about books, this one is a bookmark card. So my bookmark just fits right in here, a little pocket, and I stamped some books on the bookmark itself. Stamped the background over here, and there is my die cut, again with the pages just on top of the book. I didn't bury them and put them down inlay, but I did want to show you things that every stamper needs in their stamp room. Packing tape, I use it a lot for artistic projects like this, the Wink of Stella, and I just want you to compare these two hearts. Yeah, stamp them both in Versamark so we get that tone on tone look, and look at the difference you get. Shake it up, squeeze it, and prime it a little bit. Look at the difference you get when you put that Wink of Stella on. It is going to darken the paper a little bit, as well as adding that sparkle to it. Such a pretty look to it, though. And it's very subtle. It's such a pretty look when people take that out of their envelope and you get that, oh, that little bit of a glint of sparkle on the project. Okay, I hope I gave you some fun ideas. This is one of those sets, guys, where you look at it and you maybe aren't quite sure what you wanted to do with the images that are in here. And I hope I've given you some ideas for how you could use a set like this and the dies like this. If you are interested in this die set, I will put a link to where you can purchase it in the comments. Thank you for joining me, and we will see you next time. Bye for now.